Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mountaineer Locker Room. Then and Now, Greg Christ, Frank Fear. Welcome into the show. October 22nd, I believe it is. Frank, as always, we have another wonderful guest with us tonight. Another great Mountaineer that we always I love having, look forward to talking to. It should be another great show for everybody.
Yeah, well, everybody will meet Damon if they don't know him. I printed out his bio. It's about 5 pages.
Yeah.
He has been one very busy guy after certainly at WVU and then playing in the CFL and on a championship team that he played on, and then high school, college coaching, including back at WVU. Now he's a head coach, athletic director at the collegiate level. We'll learn more about Damon and what he's doing in just in a few minutes.
Yeah, and you read that bio. Of course, I remember watching him play at WVU. Ferocious linebacker, great player. And then you read that bio, and you're like, my goodness. Like you said, it's about 5 pages long. What a tremendous career afterward, and been extremely successful as he's going on. Of course, what we've witnessed since we've been doing this show, and we talk about it every week, is the accomplishments of these great Mountaineer players after they leave WVU. He's no different, and it's going to be fun to hear about his career and everything that's happened in his life up to this point. So it'll be a lot of fun. After Damon leaves us, he's got a pretty busy schedule. Mickey will come in. We'll talk a little bit about the next game and what we got going on with that. And I don't know, Frank. Talking about these games is getting hard. It's getting tougher every week.
Yeah, just Greg, I'll tell you what. I went to a great party this last weekend. My cousin Bobby, who's 75, just got his GED. We got great photos of the celebration. Let's talk about that rather than TCU. What do you
There
think?
you go. That sounds like a pretty good plan. And I keep watching press conferences, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna hear something that's gonna pump me up, but I watch press conferences and I get more depressed. I'm like, golly, when is basketball season gonna get here?
Transition year. That's for sure.
I
But
hate to say
seriously,
that.
we'll get to it later.
There you go. All right,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go ahead and bring in Damon and our guest for tonight, and get him going, and then Frank and Mickey, I'll bring you guys in to talk with him just a little bit after I get through with him. There he is, Damon Cogdell. Everybody, welcome to the show, Damon. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell you what, like I said, I watched you play at WVU. You were wicked, man, and I loved every minute of it, and had a great career after that. Just to get us kicked off so we don't waste any time, listen to me babble. For those that don't know you, which I don't know any Mountaineer fans that don't, but for those watching the show that don't know you, why don't you talk a little bit about your high school days, where you're from, where you came from, your upbringing, and then how it evolved that you were recruited and brought to West Virginia.
Originally from Opelika, Miami, down in South Florida. Played at Scott Park Optimist. I've been there all my life. Stayed right across the street. I had a bunch of great coaches, Optimist coaches growing up. Very. A couple of them I still talk to, like Coach Perkins, who was my OC when I was at Miramar, and coached me 90 pounds. So, and then I ended up going to Miramar. I was a standout player there, and originally signed with the University of Miami out of high school and ended up going to junior college. Dennis Erickson sent myself and Bryce to Chaffey Junior College. And Doc was recruiting me heavily in high school, and he did a great job and followed me to California, Rancho Cucamonga, and he did a great job. And I ended up having a great time on my visit and ended up going to West Virginia. And it was a great decision. I had a great time.
You mentioned being from down in the Miami area. I always marvel, and we used to have quite a pipeline down there. We used to get a lot of players from that area. You look down there now, and you have, of course, University of Miami, Florida State, Florida. Now UCF and FIU and all these other a couple other schools that are pretty good football schools. So much talent down there in that one state, and it's not a huge state, but what is it? Where does that talent come from?
It's always warm here, and it's always outside, and ironically, the culture has changed so much, and the actual resources and 7-on-7s and the training regiment is so such different now, and it gives the kids the opportunity year round to train and perform, and I think that's what it is able to compete on a day to day basis with a lot of 4 and 5 star guys, and it's very helpful for those guys.
Um, just looking at looking at the landscape now, it don't seem like we get the players that we used to get from that area.
Mhm.
I think you mentioned it. Who did you say recruited you to WVU?
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday,
Hmm.
and a great time at Morgantown, and that's what brought you there. Then
And Doc and I still speak. Doc is a very, very good friend of mine.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine. Man, he must. Uh, be a heck of a salesman and probably could sell some used cars. And to get, I always thought this in my head to get somebody that lives in Miami and Frank, Mickey, I'm sure both you guys been to Miami before. My goodness, how would you get somebody to leave that and come to Morgantown?
You know what's funny? You say that. Everyone asks that question, and you will be amazed how much fun we had. And it's so many different states around it. You got New York, Baltimore, you have Maryland, you have Philly, you have even Virginia area. So you meet a lot of different people, and I mean I had a great time. Met a lot of good friends. I joined the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We still are visiting in the Booster Club there in Morgantown. So it's been great.
Well, I must admit that I had a good time in Miami as well, but I had the best times of my life in Morgantown,
Right.
and I
Yep.
didn't play. I
Good
didn't play
times.
sports. Well, I played sports, but they weren't like considered like college sports. They were
Right.
different types of sports, beer pong stuff like that. Anyway, anyway, after you left WVU, you had a pro career, a stint in the pros, which was also very successful. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know what? That story brings back sadness for me, being the standout linebacker, standout player on defense, and I ended up breaking my hip, dislocating my hip against Syracuse in '97, and it was hard for me for being the standout player, one of the top players on defense, if not the best player on defense, and end up fracturing my hip, and now the tides changed a little bit and didn't get drafted, bounced around free agency, and ended up getting a chance in Canada. And my first year up there, we won the Grey Cup as a starting middle linebacker. Couldn't wear number 1 up there, so I ended up wearing number 12. And I had a great time. Went back the second year, and my hip was bothering me, so I called it. I walked away from it and went to raise my daughter, and I end up moving to Georgia with my mom and end up starting coaching high school football and didn't think I was going to be a coach, and end up loving it. And ever since then, I've been coaching high school football.
That's awesome. That's yeah. The injuries plague people, and that happens and shortens careers. But I've got friends and had friends, and Mickey, Lonnie Warwick, for example, was one. And you see people that played in the pros for several years, and you see them as they get older, and you can tell what they've done for a living. All you
Right.
got to do is watch them
Yeah.
walk.
Yes.
So yeah, probably a good move to jump
Yeah.
out there
Yeah.
when you and jump out when you did. What was one of the things?
I can't hear you.
I don't know if you heard it. I don't know if
Uh,
you heard me or not. I was just going to say, people that listen to our show, they like to hear these stories about Coach Nealon. Talk a little bit about Coach Nealon, what he meant to you in your playing time.
You know what? Coach Dillon is a different coach. For me, I've been around a lot of head coaches, and he made you feel like a son. To this day, everybody that played for Coach Dillon, his integrity. His wife was awesome. His son Chad. It was just a family atmosphere, family base. What you see is what you get. When I had my hip surgery, His wife and him was the first one there. Even Coach Donnie Young. That staff alone was all father figures to us, and we played for them. I mean, it was not one dull moment that we knew that we want to go to war for Coach Nealon.
That's awesome, awesome, and we hear a lot of good stories about him. That's for sure. Frank, you want to jump in and fire a few questions there at Damon?
One of the things is you experience it already, Greg. There's so many things we can talk with David about. You're not sure where to start. One of the things I want to bring up right away is that in addition to being a coach and jumping right from the CFL into coaching high school and then in 2014 and 2015 on Dana's staff back with the Mountaineers, is that, and you are right now an athletic director, and you have been an athletic director for a good share of, probably the 20-25 years that you have been head coach. Why did you take that dual role? A lot of coaches don't want to do both. Why have you decided to do them and you stuck with it? You're an athletic director and head football coach right now at the University of Fort Lauderdale.
You know what? It happened. I went there just to be the head football coach. And when I took on the role and the AD spot was open, I said, you know what? Being the AD, it makes myself more accountable, and I have more control to make the athletic department more of a family oriented situation. And I'm all about family. When I hire my coaches and staff, everyone's a family. You know, I have Ivan McCartney that played at WVU, played for me at West Virginia. He's my OC. Joshua Taylor played for me at Miramar and also played at WVU. He's my DC. I have one of my secretaries. She went to Miramar. I have my trainer, who played for me flag football, won a state championship for me at Miramar, and she's my trainer. So I try to build myself around positive people, and it's been working so far so good.
And as I was looking at the information, you've got Cecil McNair. He didn't play at WVU, but he played at West Virginia State.
Yes.
So you've got a strong connection. It's like this is like West Virginia South.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And McNair is also my frat brother and Joshua Taylor, so it works out great for us. And the good thing about it, we're faith based. We're with an institution called the Faith Center. Bishop Henry Fernandez, and he does a great job with us. That's his school. He's the founder of the school, and we have a lot of backing, and it's awesome. And for me to be able to change lives, I'm here for a reason. I turned down a lot of Division I schools to stay here, and it's one thing about changing lives and making people smile. That's what I like to do, and been having a great time doing it.
Yeah. Last thing, and I'll get out of here so Mickey can come in. We're on a simulcast that I mentioned to you. And so on the other network, the first comment that was made was, he's the best coach in Florida. That was the first comment made
All right.
by a viewer. That's great.
I appreciate it. I know when I sent Gino and Stedman and had that pipeline going, I think of about 8 or 9 Miramar guys, and everybody didn't like me sending them all the kids to from Miramar to WVU, but they all had a great time. They all graduated. The other ones in the NFL, Gino's still there. Yotney Kajust is still playing in the NFL. So and I also have KJ Myers too on my staff too. He helps out with my recruiting, which he didn't play for me at Miramar, but he played for me at WVU with Lonnie. He was the receiver.
Wow. That's great.
Wow.
Good. Let's bring Mickey in to see what he's going to ask. Always has good questions.
Hey, Damon, great to meet you here over the electronic airways. I took a look at your bio that Frank took out, and boy, what an impressive resume you have, my friend.
Thank you.
Miramar, that is a name that, is probably the biggest, the most popular, the most successful program in the state of Florida for a long, long time. And you had, 10 or 12 years there, 6 or 7 of those as the head coach, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So talk a little bit about your high school coaching experiences, and if you could compare the difference between coaching in high school and coaching in college that you can speak to?
You know what? The beauty of being the head coach at Miramar and also the athletic director, I also went to school there too and graduated. So, and then go back to WVU as a player and also as a coach was like a dream come true. Not too many people can say they did that. And the one thing about with high school football, you build closer relationships with the parents, also the student athletes. And I always tell my parents and my students, I'm going to always be that second parent, and the mom and dad to be that second coach. And I kept that mentality when I went to WVU and the other schools that I coached at the Division I level. And I tell you, the difference between high school football and coaching collegiate football is the resources. My coaching style is the same. I'm always going to be that loving, caring coach. What you see is what you get. And I think just being honest with the student athletes, I think will take you a long way. And now with the different NIL deals and different things that they have now, it makes it more challenging. And I think if you just build that relationship with these student athletes, they'll run through a wall for you. And I think that's the difference that I was able to coach high school ball, to wash the laundry and line the fields and cook pregame meal at 1 in the morning and serve the players. So I did the dirty work first, and I'm still doing that now at the school that I'm at now.
Yeah, that's what I think it takes at the high school level. And my high school coach did much the same thing. There's an old saying, and I've heard around the high school rankings that, players don't care how much you know as a coach until they know how much you care.
Right.
And from what you said, I'm sure you'll agree with that. And I think that's, for me at least, I think that's always been one of the biggest differences is that personal relationship that you build, with your head coach. Probably a lot stronger at the high school level. Although I had Bobby Bowden as my offensive coordinator back in the day when I played for the Mountaineers. And boy, I tell you, there's a guy that he took you under his wing just like he was your dad or your
Yeah.
stepdad. Did you have any contact with Bobby while he was at FSU in your
I
high
sure
school
did. I
coaching
sure
days there?
did. I sat down and visited with him quite often. I took my team on tours, college visits, so I did meet with him quite often. And
Okay,
they did recruit me too as well out of high school.
they did. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where else were you recruited besides WVU out of high school?
You name it. I was everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. I was the top linebacker in Broward.
Broward County?
And so I was recruited by every school. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I've got a friend that was on the staff back in 1967 that actually Coach Bowden talked him into leaving West Virginia and going to Florida and becoming a high school football coach. Are you familiar with the name
Wow.
Mike Hickman? That
Hickman. I heard of that. Is he still coaching right now?
No, he's retired now. I think he's in his mid 70s as I am.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah, yeah.
they
I've
made,
heard of that name.
yeah, he was at I think it was called Florida High School over in Tallahassee, and
Gotcha. Up north.
his coaching record almost approached yours. When you were
Nice.
talking about being both the head coach and the athletic director, going back to then and now, and again referring to Coach Bowden, uh, we had a 50-year reunion of our '69 Peach Bowl team back in 2019, and Coach
Nice.
Bowden came up for it. They're having a 50-year reunion of the '75 Peach Bowl team this weekend for the TCU game. But Coach Bowden told a story on himself at our reunion about how difficult it was to be both the head coach and athletic director. And he said in his first collegiate coaching job in Alabama, I think, was it Troy? Was that his first? I think that was his first assignment. Frank, keep me honest here.
Uh,
But
no,
wherever it was, he was
Sanford.
Sanford, thank you. Sanford, that's right. He said he was the head coach of the football team, the head coach of the basketball team, and the athletic director. He had to fulfill all three roles. He said he did okay on football, And he said, our basketball team, as a head coach, and Greg, having coached basketball, you'll appreciate this. He said, I didn't think I did too bad. He said, we went 10-10. He said, we
500.
lost 10. No, he said, we lost 10 games at home and we lost 10 games on the road. He
Oh
said,
man!
he said, I ended up, I had to fire myself as a head basketball
Wow.
coach.
Well, you know what? It's funny you said that. I was the head flag football coach and the head football coach, and won the state championship in '08 with the girls and '09 with the guys. So I made out a little bit better.
Wow.
I knew
Oh
you'd
man!
appreciate that story, being both a
Yes,
head coach and an AD. Well, hey, great talking to you. What a great record you've built down there. And keep on keeping on and keep on sending those jazz, whoever you can, up to
absolutely.
Morgantown, okay?
Yeah, because I'm rooting for WVU. I'm ready to get back in the winning shape. I think Rich Rod will do a great job, and just keep up the good work. Just keep recruiting.
Yep. We appreciate you.
That
All
was
right,
going to
thank
be
you
my
guys.
next next question with him, was about the current Mountaineers. Then we'll let him get out of here. I know he's busy.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
You're talking about the uniforms, doing laundry, that sort of thing. Never forget my first interview for a head basketball job. One of the questions they asked me was, "Now, how would you take care of the uniforms?" And I didn't know. I was like, "I'm not exactly sure what you mean." Well, will you let the kids take them home, or will you wash them? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Whatever they do, I don't know.
Right.
What they were getting at was that they had a lot of problem with the kids stealing the uniform. So
Now bring them back.
I was expected to take them up after every game, wash them, give them back out game night. So, you do all of it when you coach in the lower levels. That's for sure. And
Absolutely.
Damon, I think we could all take a vote here and ask that you maybe hang out there at Miramar a little more and try to get some more players set up at WVU, because we're in some need right now. But
Believe it or not, both of my boys are at Miramar right now. One is in the 10th and one is in the 11th. So
all
I'm
right,
very, very involved at Miramar
All right.
still. They got the weight room named after me there at Miramar. So I'm always a patriot.
that's cool. That's cool. Hey, one last thing here. I know you still follow WVU, of course. What just give us real quick your thoughts on the state of the program right now, and where you think it's headed, and how everything's going to work out with Rich.
You know what? Right now, what Rich from watching from afar, he gets it. He can't coach the same style that he did back when he was there before. And I think you are good at your staff. Rich can't try to do everything. And he can't be the bad guy all the time. And I like he has a different mix of people. You're not going to make the best hire on your first hire. So I know he's going to mix some things up here sooner or later. But I just think if they keep getting some guys that want to play, you got to get some guys from some better programs too, so they who knows how to win. And one thing about me when I was recruiting, and I've gotten better as the years went on. I like to go to some programs that knows how to win. Because you get a kid that's not used to winning, but is a great athlete. Is that kid going to play 4 or 5 quarters for you? So I think with Rich Rod, with his toughness and it's contagious. As the program grow and they bring those guys in, I think the younger guys will start adapting to the culture, and that's what I think is happening right now.
Has the NIL affected you any? I don't know what the status is in Florida, but I know here they just instituted it in the high school level. Not that it'll be a big issue here, but do you see it being an issue, or
I do,
how's it going to work in
I
Florida?
do, I do. I didn't like it. Period. It's you have a collegiate kid and a high school kid that's making more money than some of the assistant coaches, and you got kids wearing jewelry during the game, and the game has changed a lot. Even my coaches now, some of my coaches that are with me now tell me I'm soft now, and like I told my coaches, you choose them and you choose certain battles. You got to change up the style. I know you got to don't move with the trend all the way, but I think big time that has destroyed the game, and eventually I think it'll dissolve. I don't think it's going to last too long. Hopefully it does.
Yeah, and is it in the high schools in Florida?
Big time.
Is
Yep,
it?
big time. Yeah, and the kids are transferring. When I played, we didn't transfer, and
Right.
then if you did, it was very slim, and it's sitting out a year or some type of consequences. Now you got kids from the Pop Warner level that's doing it now. So it's what are we teaching our youth or what are we teaching our young adults? So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, it hadn't been a big impact here yet. I mean, it may at some point, but a little different setup down there with the number of schools and that sort of thing. So, and the
Right.
number of great athletes, I'm sure it is an issue down there.
Right.
Real quick before you go, uh, talk about just briefly your best memories of games at WVU, and then some of the players you played with that you remember being some of the better ones.
You know what? My probably favorite game was '97 at the Orange Bowl when we won that game. I was Big East Player of the Week that week, and I would say that's a away game. And the home game, I would say Virginia Tech when we beat them in '97 at home. I was lead the team in tackles. The one game I don't want to remember is the Notre Dame game that year that I wasn't able to play and had to watch it from afar. That was hard to watch, you know. And then the Syracuse game, of course, when I dislocated my hip. But
Yeah.
other than that, WV did me well. I enjoyed the professors, the coaches, the players, Amos, Jaywan Sider. We still talk on a day-to-day basis. Solomon, Perlo Bastine, Gary Stills, John Hadley. The list goes on. Mark Bolger, Anthony Beck. That we talk. We were neighbors for a little bit in Tampa, so I speak to those guys all the time. Just spoke to Gary Stills last week and Jaywan yesterday.
Wow, man, that's a list of names right there. We
Yeah.
sure could. We sure would like to have you guys back, man
Yeah,
alive.
and we're talking about it too. We're talking about it. And like we said, we like the direction that things are going in right now. We've got a group chat together now, so I think we will be more in Morgantown more often.
That's awesome. That was going to be my last one. Do you get to Morgantown very often to watch games?
Haven't been there in about 2 years now. I'm excited about getting back. Ivan and I were talking about it this year. We're going to sure go down and sit with the staff in the spring.
Oh, fantastic! All right. Well, Frank, Mickey, if you guys have anything else, we'll go now. If not, we'll let Damon get out of here. We know he's got a busy schedule.
Yeah, I got a few things. First of all, another comment that came up on the other channel, the Voice of College Football. One of the viewers said the coach leads by example, and that's so important these days. This obviously when you're working with young people, but it's character counts, doesn't it?
100%. You know, I had a coach. I had an emergency coaches meeting on Monday, and I was telling my coaches, we got to make sure that we start recruiting some better character kids. You know, and I would love to when I recruit my guys now. I want them to sit with parents, see what their home bringing is about. And like I told my coaches, we're not here to turn anybody around. But my thing is, if you have a lot more character kids in your team, it's going to help those kids that need some guidance and some structure. And one thing about it, I want the kids to always be able to come speak to me or anybody on my staff. And I always tell my coaches, there's one way that I will dismiss you from my coaching program if you mistreat the kids. Now, I know there's going to be times that you shout and scream, but make sure you lift them up before they leave the program.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and again, going back to what Greg said, we really especially appreciate you taking the time because you're in the middle of your season.
Mhm.
You've won two in a row. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got a big game coming up this weekend. And my understanding is you've already got a reward in place, a bowl game at the end of the year. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, we're going to the Virgin Islands, well, or St. Croix. Funny you said that. The guy called me today and told me to start purchasing the tickets. And right now, I got the rooming list together. So the kids they're excited about it. I'm excited. My basketball team went last year, and it was a great event. Very good. It was a 4-day venue. They have a banquet for us. We have bowl practices. So it's pretty fun.
Hmm. Well, just again, you're another example of we see it every week too of guys who've distinguished themselves, wore the gold and blue, and then went on and did great things. And we really congratulate you and appreciate it. Appreciate you, Mickey. Any final comments at your end?
Just great meeting you here, Damon. I get down your way, I'll give you a shout. and
Absolutely.
really appreciate everything you do to help mold the next generation of young men coming through
Thank
America.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And Damon, again, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a blast talking to you. Congratulations on all your success, and wish you the best in the future. Keep it up.
All right. Thank you. You guys be blessed and stay warm. Okay. Is it getting cold up there yet?
It's getting cold, yes.
Oh boy. You see, it's warm out here for me.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sitting by my pool right now.
Oh, it must be nice. Yeah, rub it in our face, everybody.
Rub it
All
All
in.
right.
right. You guys take it easy. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Damon.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
See you,
Damon
Damon.
Cogdell. Great player, Frank. I tell you, I
A great
remember.
guy.
I remember watching him play, and man, he was a good one. Big, my gosh, he's big and fast. It's just like I said, I sat back and I hear, I look at him and I hear these names, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where are they now? We
Yeah.
need them back.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, not to mix sports, but Mark Parsons, who lines up a lot of our guests, he hit another home run, lining
Yes.
up Damon, and he actually posted on his page a couple of days ago one of those Freddie Boom Smalls poses that Damon did, and if you're a running back, you just don't want to see that guy
Yeah.
in front of you because he was a hell of a player, and who knows what his career would have been had he not suffered what could have
Yeah.
been a career-ending injury against Syracuse,
Yep.
and then came back to West Virginia under Dana. We didn't talk about that, but he was a defensive line coach.
Yep.
They had some good years. Went to a bowl game, and so he's he's done it all, and went right from the pros into coaching. High school, also was at the University of South Florida, coach for the Bulls. And
Yep.
so he's another guy we can be so proud of. And, it's another reason why it's great to be a Mountaineer.
Yep. Yep. Another great one. And the thing I remember about him is, back then they still wore the big shoulder pads, and I remember just seeing him on the field and those big old shoulder pads on. He looked like a mountainside. He was so big and had those big pads on. What wasn't like when Mickey played. Back when Mickey played, when practice was over, they just folded their helmets up and put them in their pockets and went home. And but when Damon played, they had those big old shoulder pads, man. And he was a beast. And Mickey, that was a compliment too, to show how tough you were.
That's right. Those leather helmets. I'll never forget them.
I'm just joking, just joking.
Yeah.
But guys,
I
I
know
tell
you
you,
are. I know you are.
these last couple of weeks, I tell you, it's been tough. This past week was, I think, a big disappointment. I felt pretty good after the BYU game that we competed and right in the game, had some chances, could have very possibly won the game. And then we turn around and lay an egg at UCF, and I just didn't see that coming. I thought we were taking some strides forward, but it looks like we took a couple steps back.
Yeah, who knew what this season
Yeah.
was going to be?
Yeah.
We knew that it was going to be a process, and right now we're at the point of every game really is a step. The question is whether it's going to be one step forward, then two steps back, or two steps forward and then only one step or no step back. And TCU is going to be. We'll talk more about TCU, but it's a good team. There's no question about it. And then Houston is next week, and Houston has really turned around the program there.
Yep.
They were on their knees, so to speak, in terms of where it was at the end of the Holgerson era, and they've got a legitimate shot at getting into the championship game, and so it doesn't get any easier after this week, but again, you got to have faith in Rich Rod. And they're making as many changes as they possibly can. But they're not. We're not playing with a full deck yet. I don't mean that in a critical way, but
Right.
it's very difficult to identify any one of those rooms where you could say that's really solid.
Yeah.
There's growth to be made in every single room, and then you have to execute as a unit offensively and defensively. That's obvious. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we talk every week about like the offensive line, for example, and you know, a lot of fans critical of the offensive line play and that sort of thing. And granted, they've struggled. Uh, you know, we're not very good right now, just to be honest. And but I listened to Rich's press conference, and the question about the offensive line was brought up, and they were asking questions like, you see changes being made, whatever, and he said, we've been changing people in and out the whole season, and he said it's not like that we've got somebody sitting over there that's 5 times better than what we have out there. He said we're putting what we think is the best chance to win, and if we could make wholesale changes and make it better, we would. He said, if we could make one change and make it better, we would. But, you dance with who brung you, as they say, and they're just not there right now. And people can be critical all they want. Um, First of all, none of these armchair quarterbacks can get out there and do what these kids are doing and be successful at it. I'll guarantee you. But they're playing hard and they're trying, and they're obviously just right now not talented enough and not big enough, not strong enough, not fast enough, et cetera, et cetera. And he even said that they may have misjudged some of the talent level, in the portal. And I think that comes from the back was against the wall. You were in a corner. You had to get players. You had to get them now. You didn't have time to really, thoroughly evaluate, I'm sure, everybody. And, the talent is just not there right now. And it's just going to take a while. It's like you said, it's a process. It's just going to take time. I mean, I think the biggest disappointment for me is I look at the Big 12 and you look and there's good teams top to bottom, I think. Everybody's pretty good, but nobody. And you think Texas Tech, well, they're the strongest team, or BYU, and you watch how we played against BYU, and then Texas Tech gets beat this past week, and you think really the Big 12 is kind of wide open. If you were going to be good, this would have been the year, to really have a good shot at it. And unfortunately, we're not in the mix by any means. Are we even close? But I just think people have got to calm down a little bit, be patient, give them some time, to work through some of these things. And I mean, they're not. We're not coaches, but we see it. So we know. I mean, you can see that that offensive line is. We've talked about it all year. They're not big enough, not strong enough, not fast enough. They look like babies out there. We can see that. So the coaches do. They know what they got to do, and you just got to have some faith in them and some patience, and ride it out, and they're going to get better. I mean, we may not see it big on the field, but it's going to happen. You just got to be patient.
Mickey, do you see are there any parallels? You went through a coaching transition, recruited by one coach, and then Jim Carlin came from Georgia Tech. Are there any parallels in your sophomore year? That was the first year you could play on the varsity. Between that year and this year?
Well, somewhat, Frank, but I don't think that has contributed to the lack of success that this team has had. Sure, when a new coach comes in, an entirely new coaching staff, you have to acclimate yourself to their standards, to the way that they expect you to represent the team, the state, the university, not only on the field but off the field as well. Certainly all those things come into play in terms of how successful you're going to be. But the one parallel I would draw is even with a brand new coaching staff, it takes time. As I've mentioned before, our first year when I was a sophomore, we went 3-5-2, and then the second year we went 7-3, and then culminated in our senior year at 10-1. So it takes time to build a winning program. You just don't walk in. Now add to that difficulty level that's already there, and let's say it's at on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's say the difficulty level of producing a winner in year one is probably around 7 or 8 on a 1 out of 10 scale. Now, add on top of that the fact that you, in addition to a brand new coaching staff, you've got 81 new players that haven't played together before. You've been just decimated with injuries, and I think that's the one factor. As much as people talk about, the talent or lack thereof of this particular team, if we go back to the beginning of the season, without these injuries that we've had, I think it would be a different story. I'm not saying that we'd be 5-2 or anything like that, but I think we would at least be at a 500 level. But take a quarterback room, for example. I mean, we had 6 guys in that quarterback room that we thought all had a chance to play. So, Nico goes down, Jaden goes down, now Cahill goes down. And now, we're probably going to start Scotty Fox this week. And we got Max Brown, who's somewhat banged up himself, as the backup. And this week they're practicing a walk-on, I believe he is, a kid by the name of Scott Keene. So, and then you build your offensive scheme for the year around the players you expect to have. And, you expect to have, a good running game to establish the passing game. And, Jaheim goes down. If you look back at the team that beat Pitt, it's completely different composition. Did the offensive line play any better in the Pitt game than they did in the rest of the games this year? Probably played at the same level. But look at all the other missing pieces that are gone that that weren't there for Pitt. So it's going to take some time. It is a rebuilding effort, no question about it. I hope the fans are patient enough to give Rich Rod, a chance, because I personally have confidence in him. I think he'll be able to get the job done, even in today's environment. And the other thing that I think plays into this is the financial capabilities of the university to contribute to getting good quality players in here. Boy, I hate to say that. It just it irks me the wrong way to say that, but it's the way things are in today's world. Take Ohio State, for example. They got the best roster that money can buy. Unfortunately, it takes that kind of commitment. So, I was glad to hear over the last couple of weeks that, our revenue share numbers are starting to come in. We've doubled almost the number of scholarships. I'm sure you guys saw that announcement last week across all sports. They went from about 258 scholarships to over 400 with the monies that they expect that have been earmarked and are being dedicated, by the fans out there. So it takes a while. In year one, we probably didn't have the funding that we needed to support the type of team that we want to get out there on the field. But I think that situation will improve in the next year. So there's just so many different things that enter into this, so many moving parts that didn't used to be there. It used to be just what's the quality of the coaching staff, what's the quality of the players. Put those two together and you have a winning formula. But there's so much more involved in it these days. Games change completely, gentlemen.
Yeah, Frank, to Mickey's point, talking about the number of injuries, that's I think something else that we may take a little lightly, because you hear, well, we got this guy as a backup, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're talking about 80 players you're bringing in, not only are you trying to find people who can come in and play and help you win immediately, but you're trying to find solid backups, and so you can have some depth. And when you don't have depth and then you have injuries, you're hurting, you're in trouble. And, that's another part of this that I think we need to look at as well, is that, it's hard enough to find, good solid starters, when you're doing it like they had to do it this year. And to be able to find starters plus solid backups, that's double trouble. And, having to do it in such a short period of time also makes it difficult. And it's just hard to put that together. I mean, I can't imagine what that was like trying to get a team together. And I can't help. I mean, I'm sure they didn't think it was going to be quite as bad as it's been. But I'm sure they felt like it was going to be hard. I mean, you can't come in expecting to bring in all these new players. And we've talked about this, the fact that they're learning an entire new system under all new coaches. And, Rich Rod said basically they're all freshmen because none of them know the system. So they got to learn this whole new system. And I'm sure that system is not full go. It's not complete right now with the, the injuries and all that. He's not been able to implement his total style, and that's all part of it too. So there's just a ton of problems, ton of issues right now, and it's like Mickey said, you got to have faith that he'll get it straightened out. I'm not sure, I haven't really. Of course, you see stuff on the internet. People, he needs fired. They should never brought him back, et cetera, et cetera. But I would always like to ask. Exactly what would you feel like you accomplished if you fire a coach right now? What good is that going to do? And it's just going to set you back even further. And you got to give them time. I mean, it takes time to build it. It takes time to get the culture right. It takes time to get his type of players in there. But if you know Rich, like I know him and other folks know him, he'll get it done. You just got to give him some time. And it's discouraging to me to see people so critical and ready to jump ship. I'm critical, but I like to call it constructive criticism. I don't criticize to be putting anybody down. It's just things I see, analyze about the game. I like the effort that they put out. I like the physicality we play with. I think we're doing all those things and still playing hard. And I think that's something that we got to be watching for is, these guys know that they're not going anywhere at the end of the season. There's no bowl game. They're just basically playing for pride right now, trying to get better. You want to watch and see how they perform when they're out there. They're getting beat 35-7. Do they quit or do they keep playing hard? And from what I've seen, they still play hard. They still try hard. They're just not getting it done. But those are, sometimes you got to look for some positives, and that to me is a positive right now. So, as long as they're playing hard, if they can start improving, that's the key. And like I said, you got to give him time. It's going to take time, and that's just the way it is. You can't, abandon ship, because things go bad. You either in or you're out, and I think everybody needs to be in.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And Rich Rod said as much in his one point you made, Greg, that they're playing hard. When he was asked, in so many words, have you given up on the system? No,
Yeah.
I haven't given up on the team and the season, rather, not system, because the kids are playing hard, and you can see that.
Yeah.
So let's transition to the the opposition at 6:00 on Saturday night. Big weekend because this is, as we talked about earlier, Tommy and Terry Bowden will be coming back. They're going to celebrate the 75 team that won the Peach Bowl, but all the players who played and support staff who played when Bobby Bowden was on the staff from 66 to 75, and then the game they'll all be on the field. Mickey will be on the field, and it'll be a great turnout. A lot of love there, a lot of great guys. And Mickey, by the way, won last week. We all really missed the final score pretty significantly, but Mickey missed it less grievously than we did, and so the season record now is 3-2-2. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll take a shot first. Watching TCU early in the year, I thought, okay, we got a shot at this. And then watching them now, they've improved a lot. And they're a pretty good football team. And, got to work cut out for us again. I think playing at home should help. I hope the crowd turns out and supports them. we struggled a lot last week. I thought defensively, I was a little disappointed in our defensive play because our defense has been pretty stout for the most part. And it seemed like we just kind of died after a couple scores. A couple things went wrong. We just kind of petered out a little bit there on defense. So I hope the defense steps up. As always, you got to, I think, um, well, most times you got to stop the running game first. I think our big concern now is that passing game again. We got to get some pressure on the quarterback and give our defensive backs a little bit of help back there. Uh, you know, I think defense is our hope to keep us in the game. I don't think we're going to outscore anybody. I think that's pretty obvious. So I think the defense has to perform. Our defensive line has got to shore up on that run game. They've got to get pressure on the quarterback. I think that's, that's Captain Obvious speaking there. But, offensively, I'm not sure what the answers are offensively. We got to try to run the ball. I think to give Scotty Fox a chance, and I think he's probably going to get better each week. The more he plays, the better he's going to get. I mean, he plays like a freshman right now, a freshman with not a lot around him. And I know people say, well, BYU has a freshman quarterback, yeah, but he also has two or three NFL prospects on his offensive line and some pretty good receivers too. It's just like being a coach. When you have good players can make you an awful good coach, and good players around you can make you a good quarterback. And but I think Scotty Fox will improve. But again, we've got to try to run the ball some to give him any chance of throwing the ball. Because he's rushed a lot of times. You can't blame it all on him. A lot of times he don't have time to throw the ball, and I don't think you want him out there running around all over the place because you don't want him getting hurt. We've got enough injuries as it is, so you got to give him some time to throw it, and hopefully, we put together a game plan where it's not, take a shot and hope something good happens, but you go out and establish some drives, possess the ball, like we've talked about before, put some drives together, and I think if we can have some success early then I think we have a shot. I thought last week, whenever we got behind early, I thought we just kind of caved in after that. We didn't quit playing hard, but we really lost our mojo there once we got down a couple scores. And I think getting off to a good start would help us tremendously. Hopefully, playing at home, that'll be the case. Mick, how about you?
Well, I took a look at TCU's strengths and their weaknesses. They got a great quarterback, this Josh Hoover. In 5 of the 7 games that TCU's played so far, this kid has thrown 3 touchdown passes in 5 of those 7 games.
Yep.
I think he's got like 21 touchdown passes so far on the season. So no doubt they got a great passing game. They did lose a lot in terms of wide receivers, but they did take advantage of the portal, and they got some good wide receivers in there to replace them. So the passing game is what concerns me the most about their ability to win the game. And on the defensive side of the ball, their secondary is pretty strong. They finished 5th in the nation in 2024 in total points against. So they got and they didn't graduate a lot, so they got a pretty stout defense. On the other side of it, from weaknesses standpoint, they have been kind of inconsistent at times on the defensive side of the ball. One good thing working in our favor this weekend is homecoming, and the 5 wins that they have all been either at home or on a neutral field. The one win against North Carolina, I think, was a neutral field. The other 4 have been at home, so they have not won, away from their home stadium yet. So that certainly, hopefully, is an indication. Mountaineer fans make enough noise and enough ruckus out there, we can shake them up a little bit. And they've had some breakdowns. Their offensive line's had some breakdowns in defending against the pass rush, protecting the passer. So there are some weaknesses there. unfortunately, our team's not built to come from behind at this point with all the injuries that we've had. So if I'd hope that we could get out to an early start. And as you said, Greg, we're probably not going to outscore them. So our defense is going to have to come in and play pretty stoutly as well. You want a number?
Well, we'll do that.
Point,
I think we'll do that at the end.
Yeah. Yep. Go
Okay.
scores at the end.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Frank.
Good guys. You did a good job. I'll just really support and supplement what you're saying. Let me cut to the quick. I think the only way that West Virginia wins this game is if we have our best game of the year and they have their worst. I mean, it's simple. But, well, at least I'm predicting it's simple. But when you look at TCU's offense, Mickey is spot on. It starts the middle and the end is Josh Hoover. He's thrown already for 2,100 yards, thrown it at 65% completion rate. He had 230 yards and 3 TDs, 22 for 31 against Baylor. And because of that, obviously, he's not throwing it to himself. So he has a couple of really good wide receivers in Dwyer and McAllister. Dwyer had, against Baylor, 7 catches for 111 yards. The running game, if the running game was stronger, I think that TCU would be undefeated. But it isn't. Barnes is a good running back. Battle is a good running back, but we've seen better. And so it really comes down, as Mickey said, to the ability, I think, of our defense, which we obviously they didn't come last week. I thought they would, to bother the quarterback. They've got to bother the quarterback. The other thing that I would say in terms of weaknesses, I'm not castigating TCU, but obviously for those who are TCU supporters watching, but obviously this is a WVU score. There are 2 areas that I think we need to look at. One is they're very effective on offense when they get to the 3rd down. They're 11th in the country, but their defense against the 3rd down, believe it or not, nationally is lower than WVU. So they have not been very good at stopping teams at when other teams are 3rd down. The other thing, which really surprised me, is their kicking game. In terms of place kicking, they've got 2 place kickers, but they just have not kicked many field goals. You see, I think they're 3 for 5. Their longest kick conversion, I think, is 33 yards. Wow. And so obviously, if that's a strength, given their coaching staff, they'd be using that more. But so I think for me, the key is if our offense can perform a bit, their defense, I think, can be had. They have given up. They gave up. Let me see. Let's do a quick calculation here. An average of 38 points average in the last 2 games, and they're giving up 26 points overall this season. And so they're winning games by their offense. And I think Josh Hoover is the MVP of this team. He has a great mind for the game. He has a great presence. Obviously, when I use this comparison, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but you can see when he's out on the field, he has a field general presence. And I'm not sure we can rattle him. Probably not at this point in his career, but we've got to be able to put some pressure on him. And what we can't have happen, and I'm looking for this, if they start running the ball against us, that's going to be white flag time, because not that WVU will wave the white flag, but because we know they've got a good passing game. If they can start running, which is not up, from my perspective, up to par with their passing game, then it's going to be a long, long night.
Yep, I think spot on, both of you, and we can just hope for the best. Hope that we come out and ready to play, and like I said, maybe the home field will help us a little bit. I'll be honest with you. I'm changed my ways a little bit. I'm going to pick the upset this week. I look for the upset because I think Mickey and all the old guys will be there rooting them on. That's going to give them enough oomph to get it done. I think WVU is going to pull the upset 28-24. So that's what I'm going with. WVU with the win 28-24. Mickey?
Mick?
Well, I sure wish I could agree with you, Greg. Uh, I, I hate to call this one this way, but being realistic, I'm afraid we're looking at another L this weekend. Unfortunately, we're just outmanned at this point. It's going to take a little while for us to get to this level of play that TCU is already at. So, unfortunately, I've got the Mountaineers on the wrong end of this thing, 38-24.
38-24. Okay. Well, I'll make my pick now. Let me see. Mick's 38-24. Greg's 28-24. I'm going to make my pick 28 and a half, 24 and a half. If that's okay. Actually, we're going to talk about this in a minute. We'll all be there in Morgantown on Saturday, and ordinarily we look forward to that. We will look forward to it. I'm talking about in terms of the game and the game outcome. I have not picked against the Mountaineers all year long. What I'm worried about is that getting down to where we are in terms of quarterback. Not that Scotty can't develop into a great quarterback, but it's a lot of pressure for a true freshman. We really do not have a first line running back yet who's established himself. Hubbard probably will get the nod this weekend. We talked on the post-game show last week. When we think back to the Pitt game, if I remember, the winning touchdown was to a tight end. The tight end didn't catch a pass last week, and I think it was Steve who was with us. Basically said that's because he was blocking so much on the line, But anyway, don't drop your iced tea. But I've got TCU 56, West Virginia 14.
Woo! Woo! Frank going with the thumping. He's not only picking against WVU, he's picking for a beatdown.
A beatdown.
Woo! Well, we hope Frank. I hope you're wrong.
I am too. I do too.
I wouldn't be surprised though.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right, Greg.
Well, I would
I
be.
hope you're right, Greg.
I wouldn't be surprised if both of you are right and I'm wrong. I'll just say that. Trying to keep my spirits alive here, but anyway, yeah, it's tough when you go into a game and you don't feel like you have a chance, and I've been to a lot of games up here, and I rarely remember feeling that way. And you felt like when we play at Mountaineer Field, we're gonna have a shot to win, and still try to hold on to that hope. But yeah, tough times. But like I said, it's going to get better. We just got to hang in there. It's going to get better. And Frank, you mentioned us being there, so if you want to go ahead and tell the audience about that before we get off here and run out of time, you go ahead and fill them in. I think all three of us will be there.
Well, absolutely. If we could put that up,
Yep.
Absolutely. It's coming on right now. We really, really, really appreciate Anthony Colasante coming through and inviting us to be at his restaurant. Great restaurant. Arguably the best pizza rolls around. Great. It's a great sports bar with obviously Italian food, great pizza. And you can see on the graphic there, West Virginia News had it on the list as one of the best places to eat in West Virginia and one of the best restaurants in Morgantown.
Yep.
And we'll be there in the afternoon from 2 to 3:30. We're going to be live. It's our pregame show, and we're looking forward to it. For those of the address is right there. If you can join us, come on down and we'll get you on the air. And it's right over the bridge in Westover. Colasante's Ristorante and Pub on Saturday, and we're going to have fun. it'll be good seeing everybody, including Darren, face to face.
Absolutely. Should be a blast. And Frank, when you mentioned that we were talking about it, I had forgotten that I actually did have opportunity to eat there a time or two when I was working up in Morgantown. Man, good grub. So I may y'all may not see me on there. I may just be over in the corner gorging myself. So if you have to pull me away from a pepperoni roll or a pizza, just put the hook out there and grab me. But yeah, it ought to be a lot of fun. And I know, like you said, going to be good to see everybody face to face again. We haven't been together for a while, so it'll be a lot of fun. I think people will enjoy the pregame show. Hopefully, we'll have a few folks stopping in that we can chat with. I don't know. I don't know player wise if what we'll have, but hopefully we'll have a few folks dropping in on us, and we'll have some good discussion there. It'll be a lot of fun. And Mickey, I know you're looking forward to it as well.
I really am. I've eaten at that restaurant several times, and I'll tell you, it's the best Italian food in the state of West Virginia, in my
Yep,
estimation.
it is
They
good.
really do a great job. Now, Frank, when you negotiated this with them, you didn't arrange, like on the game day on Saturday mornings on ESPN, where they bring the platters of food out to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
announcers. Yeah, hopefully you negotiated part of that
yeah.
in the broadcast deal.
That I did. Basically, what Anthony said was, you guys can eat as much as you want as long as you pay for all of it. That's what
As
that's
long as
what
you
it
pay
was.
for
And no,
it.
it's the thing about it, which I've said this before. I'm going to say it again, and we got to put a real shout out to Ken Juskowitz, the great field goal kicker. Many people think was the first soccer style field goal kicker in American college football. Ken lives in Morgantown, great business career there. And I was talking to him the other day, and he said, "Well, I think that Anthony might be interested in you guys coming down." And so he called him, and he said, "He's right there now. Call him." He doesn't know me. I mean, who's Frank Fear? I pick up the phone, call him, and was like we had known each other for 10 years. He didn't ask any questions. He said, "We want you to come down." And so plenty of parking and set up and be there. We open at 12. And so we're going to be there between lunch and dinner. He said he can't obviously predict what the trade's going to be, but people will be in town and the food is terrific. It's a sports bar, so we fit right in. So this could be the first of other appearances there, but we've always enjoyed going to Kegler. And as you'll see it in the posting that we put out, this is the third remote with Darren's, obviously not his help, but with Darren that we've had this year, because we are at Kegler's for the spring celebration in April, for the Joe's Nose Kids golf tournament at Lakeview. We were there in July, and now we're coming back in October. So that's 3 times we've done remote shows in the Morgantown area, and that's a blessing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And those are always fun. They're always a blast. Always have issues and problems, but they're always fun. And Frank, I was going to tell you, yeah, you're going to have to do a little better negotiating these deals, or we're going to have to cut your pay. And I know that's going to be tough on you. And you're going to start paying us. I guess that's the only thing I can come up with. We can't get you below zero, but you can start paying us. So you got to get some better deals. Mickey,
Yes.
I say, since he didn't get the deal completely cut, he probably ought to buy the pizza. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's the least he can do.
Plead guilty, but it'll be fun.
No,
And
hey, I'll tell you what.
yeah.
In all seriousness, if it wasn't for Frank, I don't know what we'd do. Frank keeps the wheels rolling here. That's for daggone sure, and keeps this stuff going. So hats off to you, Frank. We're just picking a little bit, but yeah, he does a great job keeping things moving. That's for sure. Does all the contacts, and I just I just sit here and talk, and that's all I have to do.
Well,
And I appreciate you.
what keeps me going is this West Virginia hooch. both the legal and the illegal kind, that I'm serious, that we take advantage of. I mean, the Bullocks, as you know, Mickey, is just out of this world. And then the not so legal kind
Hey,
is out of this world too.
they're in
So
there.
we'll be getting some of that this weekend as well. Sorry to bring up booze, but hey, let me give you one little sidebar, you guys. I took Italian in college. And, if you asked me to speak Italian, I would have to make it up. It's been a long time. But I wondered, cola sante, what does that mean in Italian? Well, cola, COLA, means victory of the people. Isn't that neat? That's a sports bar, victory of the people, and
Yep.
it's Nicola or Nicholas. So victory of the people, Nicholas is drawn from that, and of course Sante is saint. So it's Holy Nicholas or Holy Nicola or Holy is the victory of the people. But I don't think I want to say that to Anthony. He'll probably hit me. But I think is just a trivia. It's trivia. It's interesting. So Colasante,
There we
beautiful,
go. There we
beautiful
go.
name.
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
than
I am not
better
that.
than fear.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no, I'm not very well versed in any language, including English. So I can't even speak English. I don't try to speak anybody else's language. So uh,
That's good.
we'll make the best of it, though. Looking forward
Yeah,
to it. All
that's
right,
good.
guys. Another hour
Yeah,
and a half, hour and 15 minutes has vanished,
yeah,
just like that. So we're out of time.
yep.
Uh,
Next week.
Next week, another good one. And Frank, you can see the graphic a lot better than I can, so I'll let you read a little bit of that and tell people what we got coming up.
Well, this is one of the beauties of this show. We're gonna, we're gonna have Danny Bugs on the show in a couple of weeks, and as an example, and everybody who follows WVU football knows Danny Bugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even if they didn't see him, they know what a name.
Yeah.
But Matt Ratcher is not one of those high recognition names. He was an offensive tackle who played in the late 80s. But what's interesting about Matt, he was, Mike Fox, who's been on the program a number of times and has done pre and post game shows with us too. All American,
Yep.
member of the WVU Hall of Fame, played in the pros, Super Bowl champion. He said to me how good Matt Ratcher was as a lineman, which is saying something. And this is another guy, not only was a good football player and a good teammate on a very successful teams, but has gone on to have a very, very successful business career. When you read his business bio, in the financial world, you got to deliver the goods.
Yeah.
And Matt Ratcher has done that. Very articulate guy, very thoughtful. Fans are going to enjoy. If they haven't heard the name before, if they don't know Matt Ratcher, after next week's show, you will know who he is, and you'll be very impressed.
Yep. Yep. He's another one that, again, and we over and over and over, we beat this to death, but another hugely successful former Mountaineer. So it'd be a lot of fun talking to him and getting to know his story. I think people will be interested in it. And, as a Mountaineer fan, I think, that's what's cool about this show. This brings people out that you may not have heard of. And you find out about him, you're like, wow, I didn't know all that, and that's happened to us numerous times. Wow, I didn't know you did that, and it goes on and on and on. So it'll be another one. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, guys, great show tonight. Mickey, great job as always. Frank, same to you. Great job as always. Looking forward to Saturday. Being around you guys for a little bit, and can't wait to watch the big upset Saturday. And I know all of our viewers are looking forward to the same thing. I appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching us here on the Mountaineer Locker Room, then and now on the Voice of College Football and on the New River Network. Darren, appreciate all your hard work from behind the scenes. Look forward to seeing you Saturday. We'll be on the air. I think Frank said 1:30 from up in Morgantown, live remote. So we look forward to that, and we will talk to you on Saturday. Let's go Mountaineers.